Alrighty, let's talk about this news that is hot off the press, and that is the ban of gel nail polishes that contain the ingredient TPO in Europe. But your beauty bitch is here to break down what is happening. So today, the majority of gel nail polishes, not all of them, but most of them, contain an ingredient called TPO. So TPO is what allows your gel polish to have that ultra glossy finish and allows it to cure when you put it under a UV lamp. And just to clarify, this ban is only happening in Europe, not the US, because Europe tends to be stricter when it comes to regulating potentially harmful chemicals, both in cosmetics as well as in food. But naturally, when things happen in Europe, it can, number one, set off alarm bells in the US, and number two, sometimes the US can follow suit later on. So there were some studies that were done in animals, but not humans, that showed that this ingredient could potentially be both carcinogenic as well as dangerous to reproductive health. Like I said, number one, it was done in animals, which definitely is credible, but it was not done in humans. And I think this research is very valid, but also preliminary. So there's a lot more studies that are needed to be done in order to understand if this is truly a dangerous ingredient. I'll also add that the EU has even said that they are doing this out of precaution, not because there's super strong evidence at the moment that this ingredient is specifically toxic. As someone who's worked in the cosmetics industry for over 11 years, I can tell you many things are fake news. I think people panic way too soon about things like parabens and things like that before truly looking at the research and really understanding what it is. At the same time, I am also very cautious of carcinogens and disruptors and things like that. So I look at research very carefully to understand if this is a go, if this is a no, and really what is best for me and my body. So for me, the bottom line is that this information is a yellow flag, not a red flag. That being said, to me, gel manicures are still a red flag. What do I mean by that? So there are very few things that we can show cause cancer, cause things like that. Most things are correlational. One thing we do know that causes cancer is exposure to UV. So that's why tanning beds are a no. If you put your hand continuously in a UV lamp getting a gel manicure, you're basically like putting your hand in a tanning bed. Personally, I do get gel manicures sometimes, but I really try to limit them. So I get them if I'm going on vacation or if I know I'm going to be putting a lot of wear and tear on my nails, but I do not get them regularly. If I do get them, I absolutely wear UV gloves and I put sunscreen around my cuticles. That helps, but it doesn't save it completely because you can still get cancer growths under your nails, around. I'm sure I'm not covering it completely and you're still getting exposure. So personally, again, the TPO thing isn't really what's keeping me from getting a gel manicure, but it's just kind of a little bonus as to why I personally avoid them. The interesting thing is I feel like nail is one of those things we haven't really cracked as an industry as like an ideal, perfect solution. I think there's kind of like pros and cons to most things. I also avoid dip powder, for example, because the fumes can actually be very toxic. And we all know that regular nail polish just doesn't do it. It's just too annoying to keep reapplying and the chipping and all of that stuff. But don't worry, this girly has never left the house without her nails done in 20 years. And so I have definitely looked through all of the solutions and thought about really the pros and cons, and I will share my expert recommendation in a following video. But just kind of wanted to share a little bit more on this subject since it's definitely very buzzworthy right now. And of course, feel free to drop me a question in the comments.